to do the poem A Thing of Beauty, written by John Keats. This poem is an excerpt from his long writing Endymion, a poetic romance. The theme of the poem lies in the very first line. It says, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." It means that anything that is beautiful, it gives you joy, it gives you peace, it gives you a happiness. It never fades away into nothingness. Rather, as time passes, the number of time that it is revived in one's mind, it increases manifold. It multiplies the joy and happiness that it imparts to the person who remembers that thing of beauty. Now, to begin with the explanation of the poem reads, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness." In these lines, the poet says that beauty is eternal. It is forever. It never fades away. Instead, our love for it enhances, it increases with the passage of time. The poet says that a beautiful object is always a source of joy, a source of happiness. Its beauty increases with every glance of the onlooker. It never fades away into vacuum, which means beauty is immortal. Further, the poet says, "But will keep a bower quiet for us, and asleep, full of sweet dreams, and health, and quiet breathing." The poet in these lines explains that beauty acts like the soothing, relaxing shade of the trees, which helps all the creatures to sleep peacefully and enjoy good health. He says that beauty provides us peaceful shelter and a sleep made comfortable by many, many sweet dreams. Besides, the poet says that a beautiful object, it also gives us good health and peace, keeping our lives free from all kinds of turbulence, keeping our minds free of all kinds of turmoils. Then the poet says, "Therefore, on every morrow," morrow means tomorrow, "therefore, on every morrow are we reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth." In these lines, the poet says that at every moment our desire to live further is because we encircle ourselves with our love towards these beautiful things. As we get wrapped up in the beautiful flowery band, we get a reason to live on further. Thus, the poet here draws a conclusion that since a beautiful thing gives us eternal happiness, every morning we renew our look with nature when we weave a band of flowers. This wreath of beautiful flowers keeps our bond with nature constant and unbroken. Further, the poet says, "Spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching." The poet explains in these lines that without beauty, the earth is full of gloom, it is full of sadness. There is cruelty all around and lack of good natured people. The poet, in these lines, he wants to convey that beauty saves us from all negativity that is arising out of dejection, out of disappointment and uncertainty. Beauty helps us to get over low spirits, loss of hope, loss of pain that is caused by the absence of human values around in the people around us. Then he says, yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. The poet says, it is this beauty, the creation of God, which removes the sadness and the darkness that prevails in our minds and our souls. That is, it is the sight of beauty that removes the darkness of gloom from our souls. It saves it from being directionless and makes way for hope. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep. Now, in these lines, the poet he names some of the things whose beauty is eternal, is everlasting. The beauty of the sun, the beauty of the moon, greenery like trees whose shade is a boon. It is a blessing for creatures like the sheep to rest under it. So, in these lines, once again, the poet he reminds us of the concept of eternal beauty that lies in examples such as the sun, the moon, and the old and the young trees that provide the blessing of shade, a place for rest for the sheep of God, that is, humans as well. He also cites the examples of eternal beauty that lies in nature. And such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The poet explains that flowers, beautiful flowers, various flowers like daffodils, make the earth so green and lively, and the rivers full of clear waters. They cool everyone in the hot summers. So, the poet also cites examples of the eternal beauty as seen in the beautiful flowers such as daffodils, which live surrounded by the splendor of green plants. And the poet also draws our attention to the small rivers with clear waters that cool the bushy thickets in the very hot season. The mid forest brake, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. The poet explains that the thick and green bushes of the forest fern where beautiful fragrant musk roses bloom. So the poet also reminds us of the resplendent beauty of the thick ferns that are found in the forests, which have fragrant flowers spread in between them. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead, all lovely tales that we have heard or read. So the poet he says that other than these things of nature, the poet adds the stories of brave men who sacrifice their lives are also beautiful. So the poet says that these ordinary things also have the potential to lift the human spirit and fill it with pure joy. And going a step further, he reminds us that beauty is also found in the legends that narrate the grand sacrifices of our martyrs. The stories are heard or read in praise of those brave hearts who sacrifice their lives for noble causes also make us feel happy. These wonderful tales inspire us. And in the last couplet, the poet says, "And endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink." The poet says that all these beautiful things are like nectar for us. They are God's gifts to us, which help us to live further on this beautiful earth. So, the poet in these lines wants to say that beauty in all respects, whether in growth or decay, is an endless fountain from where we can drink the immortal elixir of life, elixir potion, where we can have the immortal elixir of life. It is a perennial, it is a continuous source of motivation, and it is a beautiful gift showered upon us by the divine powers. This beauty, it is eternal, it is everlasting, in whose glory men on earth they bask and derive their perennial source of joy and happiness. And they get this nectar from the brink of heaven. The brink, which means the corner of the heaven, or a place where the mortal merges with the immortal. It becomes one. It is a place where man leaves behind all the earthly sorrows and worries to accept heavenly peace and pleasures. Thus, the message that John Keats wants to convey through this poem is very clear. The message rests in the opening lines itself that beautiful objects last forever. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. These beautiful objects are treasured in our minds because they provide us eternal and everlasting joy. Happiness that we receive from beauty never fades into nothingness, but it multiplies manifold whenever it flashes on a mind screen. I hope, children, all of you have understood the poem. Please read it from the text once again and its description. Go through the video. In case of any doubts or queries, do post it in the comment section of the Google Classroom. Till then, stay safe, stay home. God bless you all.